Hi everyone, my name is Philip and today I would like to show you how to make a correct head turn in Maya. Okay, let's get started. So a head turn is super common assignment when you're starting out, and it helps you establish this correct body mechanic in the upper body part. For sure it could help you in the future if you are going to work on some acting shots, some close-ups. So today I would like to show you the correct way of doing this, because when people are starting out, they're just doing this oversimplification of the movement. So right now you can see in Maya, this is like a basic head turn when you're usually starting out. Okay, so just two poses, point A and point B, pose A, right, and pose B, and this is like literally that's what you're aiming for, like going from transition from A to B, but not only the end goal matters, but how you transition through these poses. Okay, so I want to show you some, like a blueprint that we are going to follow. So just by having two poses, like a starting pose here and the ending pose here, it's not enough for us. Okay, it's not enough even for Maya to create some believable movement. So we need to create these in-betweens, so some more and more poses to establish this like more natural movement. So for us, this will be the starting point, right? Then we want to have some additional pose. So here, this will be our second pose when character will be maybe going up slightly, okay, like as an anticipation. And then we want something in the middle of the head turn. So because right now the character usually is doing, transitioning from this side to this side in linear interpolation, okay, in linear movement, and this is not appealing. If you learn a little bit the principles of animation, there is something called arc. So basically we want to avoid linear movement in our animations. Okay, we want to look for arcs whenever it's possible. So for example, in this case, instead of having just linear movement like this, we will be aiming on this curvature during the motion. Okay, so first, if you, for example, try the nose movement, the nose might go slightly upward and then down. It will achieve the ending position. So let's go to Maya and let's try to establish the same poses here. So first of all, instead of just having this T pose, okay, this unnatural posture, I want to give my model slightly more believable pose. I don't want to animate like the lower body, but adding some other rotations will for sure help, because right now he's too symmetrical. Okay, maybe we can lower his shoulders slightly more. So add some asymmetry, even if you are thinking that, well, he's supposed to stay straight, okay? So maybe I'll try to rotate him here. I will select everything, okay, as a key, as our new pose. Okay, great. So this is our first pose, and this is our last pose. Of course, right now, if you can see, he's also like really stiff. There is no like complexity in this pose. So I will try to rotate his chest to decrease the tension from his neck. Okay, then let's try to rotate slightly back his head. Also, if there is rotation like that, it could be nicer to rotate the head slightly forward, like the neck, and the counter animate the head. If you have this position, you could always push slightly the neck forward. Since he is looking at this side, on the right side of the screen, we can just lower slightly his shoulders, okay, decrease the pressure. Maybe this one could go slightly more forward. Having more believable poses will help, but it's not enough, of course. We need to add those two poses, at least two poses. So first, I think right now we can just create this breakdown next to this frame, like after 10 frames, yes, we can have this anticipation pose, let's say, or maybe even earlier. But anyway, what we can do is we don't have to create things from scratch. We can actually use first frame. We can just copy the values, and just paste them here. Yes, so currently we have some small movement happening, during these frames, and we want to just build on top of that. So right now we want to make sure that his head is moving slightly upward. Okay, that's cool. And right now let's create another pose around frame 20. Here, okay. And our pose will be super important here because it's going to establish what is leading the movement and what is following. So here I want to make sure that head is leading the movement, it's going first, and then chest is following. Okay, so let's rotate first head, and let's go back with the chest slightly to the previous position. Okay, so it doesn't have to go so much to the right side. Maybe also the shoulders could move less. You can just, create a key here, cut the values, and just paste them here. So remember our blueprint here, our pose has to be lower, and also on top of that we need to add additional rotation axis. So he won't stay always vertical in the head axis. He's actually will rotate his head slightly to the right side of the screen. So this one here, let's just rotate the head slightly like this. Maybe we can lower the chin, right? Okay, and this looks way cooler in my opinion, but it's too exaggerated. I think we want to have something more subtle, and in my opinion here, already in this pose, it would be cool to have this additional rotation. Okay, so the head will already start slightly rotating. But it can go up first with the chin, and then it can go down, right? And here, it doesn't have to go straight to the point, so straight to the frame 30. It can go actually slightly beyond that point and then go back. What we call that is an overshoot. So right now it looks correctly, and take a look, I'm not even working on the timing yet. If you are just starting out and you don't have this like a confidence, I would suggest you to actually record the footage of yourself doing this movement, and then based on that create those poses. Okay, so then you will have this like confidence that what you're doing is actually based on the real live reference. Okay, and it's gonna work eventually. It looks cool right now. Currently he's just achieving the pose. But how we can make it cooler is we want to add more complexity to the movement, because currently he's just achieving the pose and he's dying, right? There is no movement anymore. And achieving the pose you can actually manage with two techniques. It can either go to the pose and then slow down at the end, okay, and then have this smooth transition to the pose, or you can actually have the overshoot, so just going beyond the pose and then going back. So in this case I think it would be cool to create this overshoot. And how to do that? So we want to avoid this going to the pose and then, you know, that's it, because it's just super stiff, let's say. So how we can do that is just by creating even two frames before. Yeah, seriously, 2 frames before, and then we can actually just, you know, change the orders and it will look like this. And it will look like this. But right now this going back to the pose, to the previous pose, is too sharp in my opinion, so we can make it, you know, in 50% less. So I will just create a pose here, delete this one, and pose here. If it's not enough, if you think it's too much, then we can do it again. Or you can just actually, you know, just spread them, create a key here, and then you can go back to the previous setting. Okay, and I'm not saying it's enough, but this is like actually our base for, you know, building more complexity. So instead of just simply going back to this pose, we can just, you know, create additional rotation here. Maybe create something like this. And right now it works, especially the ending. I feel it works pretty nice. So here we can fix maybe the neck slightly so it won't intersect with the chin. I think here we can go slightly beyond that point, you know, even higher. And in my opinion right now we are struggling with the fact that it's going too low with the nose line. Okay, so I would just try to lift it and maybe rotate it also. Okay, maybe it's too much. So if you are trying to make, you know, this cartoony animation, be careful to avoid like a over exaggeration. So here, how we can make it cooler even more, we can add, I know it's like a cliche, but you can increase slightly the softness of the whole performance by adding a blink into his eyes during the transition. So for example, here you can just slightly close his eyes, but here during the transition he can actually have eyes fully closed and then he can open them at the end. Okay, and that's how you can make a cool head turn. Great, so thank you for watching. Hopefully you liked this video. If you want to get this rig, then we have a link below to our Facebook group where we are doing some challenges and we are releasing that kind of rigs every single month. So feel free to sign up, it's for free. So stay tuned and hopefully see you around there. Okay, thank you and bye.